It's the same gun that Grace has, the SIG P232. All right, let's actually search it up, Nicholas. Let's search it up. The SIG P232. 6 Hour. Yeah. Oh, I think you're right. Yes, I think you're right. This is the same gun that she has. Yeah. That would kind of make sense that, you know, Grace kind of uses the same weapon that her mom uses. I think Nicholas got it.
Man.
Yo. Wait, is this their house? Or is this a hotel
I've
room?
been on that thing all day.
Well, if you're gonna work so late.
Get some sleep, eh?
I'm almost done, just a sec.
It's really coming down hard.
Mom, phone. Mom.
Can I just say, too, right before we continue, I do want to watch it and then I want to go back. But I think it's funny that, so this is 8 years before Resident Evil 9 begins, right? Because I know that that's what we kind of saw in the beginning trailer. We saw Grace say, or her director in the FBI kind of say that, yeah, this was like, your mother died 8 years ago. Again, allegedly, I don't know if she is going to die. I don't know if they're going to show that in this trailer. But I will say it's kind of cool that we see Alyssa Ashcroft has all like the red, like she has like her whole red outfit, just like it is in Outbreak, right? So that's cool that we see that. But yeah, that's really cool. So it seems to me like this is probably going to be the day, probably 8 years when that whole situation happened. We did see kind of a flashback in the trailer. We're going to see what's up. Anyways, let's continue.
It's right beside you.
Also, are they in a hotel?
Yes.
Who was it?
Dunno. They asked for Miss Ashcroft and then they hung up on me. Rude.
Yeah, this is the same. It's worth noting, this is, yeah, we just got that flashback literally just like before we saw this section. We also saw them. It was also in first person where we saw Alyssa going down a hallway through a double door area, which I'm assuming was the hotel, because this is something that I brought up in my previous video. I think there's 2 locations, right? It seems like the director was kind of saying that you have to go back to the same location where your mom died or whatever, but I think that that's not in Raccoon City. Obviously the timeline wouldn't make sense because it's 8 years in the past. It seems to me, again, I haven't watched the full trailer. I am kind of just dissecting it as I go, but it seems like there's 2 locations, right? There's also that one scene where we had that guy who was like the creepy guy that was sitting down. It almost looked like a broken down hotel. I wonder if that's this location. I'm assuming this is a hotel just because it doesn't look like this is their house. It looks like maybe, you know, her daughter Grace was going with her through an investigation somewheres or something along those lines. Grace, I don't know how old she is also. I don't think that's ever stated in the trailers that we've seen so far, correct? The guy with the hidden is black robe. If you see the white collar, I think that's George from Outbreak. I could be wrong, but look closely. Look at the guy in the collar white. All right, I don't think we're there yet, Jacob, so hold on.
They're coming. Grace, we need to go.
Go where? Mom, what's going on?
Hurry.
She's getting a gun, right? What is that?
Wait,
oh, a flashlight, yeah.
Who's coming? What's wrong?
Shh. We need to keep our voices down.
This is ridiculous.
Come on.
Why? Okay, one thing I will say is that if there's somebody that's actually coming to get you in a building, which I'm assuming is a hotel, unless this is their house, which looks really old. I don't know, maybe, who knows? We'll see. This is my first time watching this. But what I was going to get at is that if somebody's going into this location that you're in, they kill the lights, you going around with a flashlight is kind of just a giveaway. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you need to see, but, you know, we kind of saw this in Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. We also saw a bit of it in Death Island, where we saw Jill and as well as Shenmei or Leon, right? Or not Leon, but the other members, I think it was Mad Dog, who were using the flashlight and kind of turning it off. I'm pretty sure most of it was Shenmei in Infinite Darkness, but, you know, that's one way to kind of just hide your position when you're getting attacked. Now, I don't know, that's just me. I would not be just shining my light going through everywhere. It's like nobody's business, but anyways, let's continue.
Tell me what's going on.
Now is not the time.
Yeah, so we saw that. It's exactly what I was just saying just a couple of seconds ago. It seems like this is the flashbacks that we saw in the first trailer. We kind of saw like all of this was like a flashback. This is something that I kind of already ascertained that this was going to show us Alyssa. And as mentioned before, I don't think Alyssa's dead. We'll see. Maybe if she dies now, but apparently this is where she dies, right? It seems like that's what the game is telling us, that in this situation, this is where Alyssa ends up dying. Which I don't really believe. All right, let's actually go back just a couple of seconds. This looks like an old hotel. So this kind of aligns with what I was saying, right? There's going to be several locations in Resident Evil 9, right? We saw that there was that kind of nurse location. This doesn't seem like it is, right? I mean, just from the ceilings, right? This was something that we were kind of looking at. We were looking at the architecture from the kind of hospital section, which I don't know where the location is. I was assuming that it was actually going to be in New York, is what I was guessing, just because of how the look. We kind of saw the urban area. But right now, this doesn't look like it's the same building, because if you guys remember, those were a lot older. Like the hallways were incredibly tall, just from this hallway. Follow mom. Okay, so that's cool that it goes from third person to first person. I also want to see how... Wait, 1 second, boys. I also want to see... Wait, let me actually bring up my other thing. I almost forgot. We did this last time, but I want to bring up my marker just in case we notice anything. The gun looks like a Matilda. Interesting. Yeah, we'll look at the gun, boys. Thank you so much, lady. We'll look at that.
Stay close.
Mom, wait!
Grace, keep moving.
Yeah, her gun looks really small. Okay, we'll look at the gun after, because Lady Hugo was just mentioning that it seems like it's the Matilda. Or what's the gun that Ada has?
Oh, who's that? Oh, I'm so sorry about the power outage.
What happened?
It's really no excuse, and I apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Don't worry.
I should have it fixed soon. I just need to find my...
Can I just say, this is actually giving me Resident Evil 6 vibes. Specifically this hallway right here in Tall Oaks Cathedral. This is giving me that vibe right now. And I wonder what this is. This seems like it seems to me like this is a hotel. I mean, that's why there's a guy here that's apologizing for the lights. But right here, also, what is that symbol? Didn't we see this symbol somewheres? We saw, is that a picture of a dove? Is that a picture of a dove? I think we saw that symbol. Where did I see the symbol? Wait, was it in the logo of Resident Evil 9? I believe it. Yeah, we've seen this symbol somewheres. Haven't we? Like, am I tripping? In Village, maybe. Yeah, in Villagers, there was a similar one, but I also think in Resident Evil 9, I think when we were watching like some of the promotional stuff, I think for the titles, I don't know, something, I'm pretty sure we ran across this. This is very Resident Evil 7 right now, so that's amazing news for me. I'm out. Here we go. Yeah, it seems like this right here. Like I said, this seems like it's giving me a very Tall Oaks Cathedral. Just the architecture, these little things right here. That was in Resident Evil 6 a lot. Obviously, this, even though we know that this is not going to be like Resident Evil 6, Capcom likes to reuse a lot of their stuff, right? When it comes to, when it comes to architecture, when it comes to like assets, I guess, well, they wouldn't use like RE6 assets because that's too old. That's like from what, like more than 10 years ago. They're not doing that, but obviously taking inspiration from the locations, right? That Resident Evil-esque location, which of course Tall Oaks does take inspiration from other Resident Evil games. But yeah, very, very interesting. I have to, it almost looks like a dove, doesn't it? Like a little bird like that. And the wings, there's like 2 wings and then like that, right? Honestly, that kind of looks like a Seadra, bro. From freaking like Pokemon. I don't know what I was drawing, but anyways, yeah, it looks like a little bird. Anyways, that seems like it's important to the story. I do want to see if we'll get a closer look at it. If not, I'll have to just zoom in later on.
Oh, who's that? Oh, I'm so sorry about the power outage.
What happened?
It's really no excuse, and I apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Don't worry.
I should have it fixed soon. I just need to find my...
Yep. So this is stuff that we actually saw previously. This is stuff that we actually saw before. And again, this leads me to believe that the building that we saw, I don't know if you guys remember, and I'll show this obviously in my edited video, but there was a building, there was one moment where he kind of mentions to Grace that there was something special about her. In the corner, in the top like left corner, or I think it was the right, whichever, you kind of see that it almost looks like a deteriorated like location, like an abandoned building. And I wonder if Grace actually has to go back to whatever building this is, whether it's a hotel or not, we still don't know. But this location, it seems like she has to return in the future, or AKA 8 years after her alleged mom's death. And she actually runs into the same guy that I'm assuming allegedly kills her, right? Because we don't know. I mean, I don't know if the trailer's almost done, so I don't know if they're gonna get to that as to how Alyssa is gonna die. But yeah, I'm assuming. You know what? I will say this. I think this is probably going to be the tutorial section of the game. I wouldn't be surprised if this is, or I guess really close to the beginning. Obviously, this needs to be kind of explored, kind of showcased about, you know what I mean, like what's happening, who Grace is, her connection to a famous Resident Evil, or I guess a Resident Evil character. The Outbreak characters aren't really that, you know what I mean, well known or famous. It's a very, you know what I mean, it's a hidden gem of a Resident Evil game. Not everybody's played it, but yeah, it's it seems to me like this might be the beginning of the story, or like I said, chapter 2 or something along the lines of the beginning, a prologue or something. Because yeah, I mean, this would be a really good way to kind of just go over the controls. You know what I mean? It says follow mom. You're going to follow your mom. It's going to show you how to turn on the light, how to go everywhere. It's really quick. I don't know. I'm just getting like tutorial kind of stuff, right? Tutorial stuff. But yeah, we'll catch up with chat. Recurring memory. This could be like a recurring dream she has, and then she likes to wake up at her desk and then gets called into the room in the first trailer. That's a very good point, Zach. That is a very good point. Yes, that could actually tie in a flashback, but in reality, we're playing through the flashback, we're playing through the demo, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It just switches. And then, you know what I mean, we're back at her office. That would be really good for storytelling purposes. But yeah, Zach, that's actually a really good point. That would be really cool if they did that. Make America Great Again says, you look like Michael Knowles in a good way. You know what? You know what? Yo, my mom is always telling me that, dude. Yo, I have to make a list. I gotta make a list of everybody that thinks that I look like somebody else. I have to make a list, bro, because it's just getting funny at this point, bro. Honestly, there's so many people. What was it last stream? Somebody said I look like Brandon Rogers. Before, obviously, Jeff Goldblum, freaking, like, I get so many, bro, and I need to make that into a video, bro. We got to do that. We got to do that, boys. We got to do that. Jacob says, I don't think that's George, but if you look closer to the collar, he has the exact same if you search it up. Oh, you're talking, Jacob. Is that who you were talking about before? You're mentioning that the old man is George? No, I doubt it. I don't think that that's George. Honestly, the way that the interaction occurred with Alyssa and kind of talking to the guy, I doubt this would be George. I mean, you could, you know, I think maybe the reason you're kind of going into that route is because obviously we've seen an Outbreak character, and, you know, George would be hella old in like 20, I guess. When is the dates again? We know that this is going to be 2028 is what we see, what we're ascertaining, right? It's going to be 30 years after the events of Resident Evil 3 and 2, right? I guess in October 1st, 1998. I guess when the explosion happened. Again, that's a give or a lot of my chat was also saying that seems the directors did kind of specify that it was going to be close to that date. It's not exactly. I'm assuming whatever. But as I'm saying, it's 30 years, so 8 years. This must be taking place during 2020, right? I mean, it could be earlier. But it seems like this is actually taking place during 2020. So, and of course, what was happening in 2020? Of course, not in real world. Real world, we had our own pandemic, our own outbreak, if you will. But but in the Resident Evil games lore, we know that 2020, nothing really was happening much, right? We know that 2021 is when the whole situation occurred in Romania with Resident Evil 8's story. But 2020, there's nothing to my knowledge. Yeah, Resident Evil 7 was in 2017. Resident Evil Death Island was in 2015. So yeah, there's nothing really occurring in 2020 in the Resident Evil timeline. So, I mean, it's interesting that they're adding this kind of area, this kind of lore bit that this is what was happening during that time. Again, this is all just, you know, I'm basically making an educated guess here. We don't know if it's exactly if Resident Evil 9 is going to be taking place in 2028. That's just our best guess, but it's give or take, right? So it could be 2018, 2019, who knows? But what I'm getting at here is that there wasn't really anything happening from 2017 all the way to 2020. Like 2020, like in between 2017 and 2021, nothing really was happening. So yeah. Jacob says, if that was George, it'll be insane. And we got another Outbreak character play. Oh, it would be insane. Not I would be insane. Yo, Jacob. It would be insane. Another Outbreak play. I don't think they're going to do that. No, because it doesn't seem to me. It could be an Easter egg that could be George. You know what I mean? Just because of the collar, like you said. That could definitely be the case. But do I think that that's actually George? No, I don't think. Because the interactions between Alyssa and the old guy weren't like somebody she knew. You know what I mean? She didn't look like she knew him. And also, the guy got freaking killed off, like, instantly. You know what I mean? He got killed off instantly. So, I mean, you could make the counter argument that the camera stopped, the cutscene stopped right there. So maybe Alyssa was like, George, or whatever. But I don't think so. I don't think so, man. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I doubt that that's George. It could be a nod to George, which I think is the most likely the case. But I don't think, just based on the interaction, it's like, you know, she would have been like, hey, George. You know what I mean? Like, well, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, that's, if you knew somebody, you know, if this was Leon and Claire, Leon would be like, Claire, is everything okay? You know what I mean? Like, you would have said that. You know what I mean? Obviously, Alyssa and Outbreak, the canon is the lore of Outbreak games is very out there. But what I'm saying is that they would know each other, right? Because I mean, we can even go back here and just see her initial reaction, just to kind of go over that theory, right? Like I said, this doesn't make sense.
Oh, who's that? Oh, I'm so sorry about the power outage.
What happened?
Not to mention, this actor also is doing some sort of accent. I don't know what accent he's doing. It seems like it sounds more like it's from the East Coast. Help me out, guys, if you know. I mean, I don't think he's doing a great job. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm just tripping. But it seems like to me like he's trying to do some kind of East Coast thing. I don't know. I mean, that's just, and also based on what we looked at before, it seems like that's, you know, this is going to be taking place on the East Coast, or we at least know that one map is definitely on the East Coast, right? Because we saw Grace kind of going through those, like, it looked like those New York kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, what do they call those, like, trains like that, like go like above ground? What are they, like monorails? I don't know the exact term, but you guys know what I mean. Anyways, but going back to this theory that this is George, no, I don't think this is George, bro. This guy would have reacted way differently if he actually knew Alyssa. So I just want to kind of put that theory to rest. But it's an interesting nod. It could definitely be a nod to George, right? But also the other thing that I was going to mention as well to his voice is that his voice sounds very different. So it doesn't sound like George from Outbreak. We just streamed Outbreak, by the way. That does not sound like George. So like I said, I don't think that theory makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, my bad. The killer actually. Oh, you're saying the killer is George. I see.
It's really no excuse, and I apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I should.
I wonder if it has something to do with Alyssa's article in Resident Evil 7. Yes, that's a good point, lady. That's a very good point. Yes. I mean, that would kind of track with what's happening in this location, right? I mean, like, it seems like Alyssa is getting herself involved in some really dark stuff. Now, one could also kind of extrapolate and kind of suggest that what if Alyssa has actually been investigating the cause of Raccoon City's destruction? What if she's the reporter that's been kind of trying to push that? Because if I remember correctly, I think in RE7, her article didn't really say much, if I'm not mistaken. Let's actually bring that up right now. Just to kind of go over that theory, because it's a very good theory, lady. But we'll look at the article. I'm pretty sure it's just like a rando article. Alyssa Ashcroft article. No, you know what? Let's actually go to Resident Evil Wiki. We have been chatting with Resident Evil Wiki. If Resident Evil Wiki's in the chat, let me know. But we'll look at the Wiki site, because Wiki's is pretty nice. So we'll go on here. we'll check it out. Yeah, the majority of the missing are tourists and vagrants. At least 20 people are thought to have gone missing so far. Police suspect foul play and believe there may be a connection between the incidents. Plans are in place to step up local interrogations and increase personnel to further the investigations. That was in 2016, actually, but obviously we read that in 2017. Does it actually show the article, though? Over 20 missing in 2 years. Captain Howell from the state police told reporters they have started search for the Helen Midkiff, a college student from North Carolina who was traveling in Louisiana. Miss Midkiff hadn't heard of since the night of the 21st. Reports of missing persons in South Louisiana have increased. Okay, so no, it seems like what she's actually going over is Resident Evil 7's kind of stuff, right? I'm assuming just by the look of it. Yeah, this is the second part. So it seems like she's actually going over the missing people that are showing up to the mansion in Resident Evil 7. But that is a good theory, though. I mean, obviously what that tells us, what this seems to be, is that Alyssa does seem to be getting herself into a pickle. She's getting herself into trouble. She's investigating something she should not be investigating, right? Another reason that kind of supports this assessment is, for example, when Grace picked up the phone, right? I mean, she was like, "Hi, who is this?" And he's like, "Is Alyssa Ashcroft there?" And then he hung up really quick. Alyssa was like on alert immediately. She was like, "Who is that? What's going on?" It almost seemed like somebody that already knew that she's been getting herself into trouble, and whatever she's been actually investigating is going to lead to her, pulling out her gun and taking her daughter to safety, right? And that seems that's exactly what's happening, right? The other thing too, I also want to go back and look at the weapon, because it seems to me like it might be, Lady Hugo was suggesting that it might be the Matilda, but I actually don't really know. We just played Resident Evil 2 Remake. Ada's gun. What is Ada's gun? The Broom HC. And then let's actually look at the Resident Evil Matilda. Yeah, we'll look at that after. Wait, where's the pictures? Yeah, it almost looked like something like that. Now, I am not a gun guy, so if we have anybody in the chat that wants to go over, I know I have a lot of commenters that know a lot more than me. I actually want to get into guns, maybe in the future, but we'll go and continue. We'll go back, but let me know, guys. Let me know when we look at that. But anyways, sorry about the confusion, but if you look closely, the killer has a white collar on similar to George's collar. Sorry for that. No, it's all good. It's all good.
I just need to
We're good. We'll just continue. Yeah, I don't think this is George, if I'm being honest. That would be wild. Also, it doesn't sound like George. At first, I thought you were talking about this guy. That was George. But if you're saying that this is George, no. I mean, George's voice. I mean, they could have changed George's voice actor and stuff, but I don't see a world where George, the doctor from Resident Evil Outbreak, would end up being, you know what I mean, would end up terrorizing Alyssa. That's kind of weird. I don't know. They would have to do a lot of explaining. I don't know. I don't buy that, but yeah. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the content and you guys want me to make more of this, then let me know by leaving a like and also sharing the video. Just in case you guys didn't know, I am a very small content creator. And of course, having more subscribers does help me book more interviews like the ones you guys have seen on the channel where I speak to very famous voice actors. It would also help me get more collabs with bigger content creators so we can all hang out while I'm streaming a discussion with them. And it also gets me more invitations to special events so I'm able to cover more stuff for you guys. But anyways, let's get back to the video, and thank you to everyone that's supporting the channel. I thought you were talking about the old guy, because the old guy would seem more probable in my opinion, even though it's still not that probable. It's more probable.
Come on in, Grace.
Okay, let's continue.
Grace, look at me. Grab my hands. Okay, look at me. Look at me. In and out. Breathe in and out. Oh, Grace. I promise you, I will explain this all to you one of these days.
Yeah. So she did get herself into trouble. Again, another confirmation that Alyssa has been investigating something that she should not have been investigating, or something that's very dangerous, especially when she's a mom, right? I think right now Grace is feeling like all of the stuff like, wow, maybe I shouldn't have got involved with all of that stuff that I got involved with, right? And then looking at Grace and being like, I'm putting my daughter through a lot, right? So that's not good, but yeah, I kind of like this dynamic that we've never really seen a mother and daughter kind of duo in Resident Evil, right? Or unless I'm mistaken. No, we know that Barry has had some daughters, so that's more of a father-daughter kind of a combo. We've obviously seen, Ethan with his daughter Rose, but just from like the get-go, like it's just him, like it's just a baby. And then obviously we saw Ethan later on, right, with Shadow of Rose kind of have a connection. But again, that's more father-daughter, but not really daughter-mother kind of stuff. Unless I'm missing something, guys, let me know. But yeah, I really like, that's a very good point, Zach. I really do like the realism. It seems like it's nice to see. It's nice to see in Resident Evil, right? The other thing too that I really like though is that obviously this is showing how much of a badass Alyssa is, because Alyssa's been already, she's a Raccoon City survivor, right? So it's funny how, she's used to these kind of dangerous situations. Obviously, this kind of just makes me want Capcom, like it makes me honestly, I want to see a remake of Outbreak, because the story is a complete mess. It makes absolutely no sense. It's more just gameplay. With Outbreak, the story and all the hidden stuff is just like, it just seems like it was all just put together. The fact that there was way too many protagonists, and you know what I mean, we don't have like a definitive kind of like, this is what happens. It's just kind of like, pick whatever you want, go in, like it's just RNG, right? With what happens. But then some chapters are for certain I don't know, it's weird. Anyways, but yeah, it just makes me want a remake for Outbreak. But let's continue. It seems like something's gonna happen here.
Please know that you are my hope. Never forget that.
What are you talking about?
Just...
Yeah, she knows she's gonna die.
I love you too.
Okay.
Yeah, this right here shows that Alyssa knows she's definitely going to die. Somebody's going after her. Obviously, it's the guy that's like, yeah, you're special, or you're Grace, or whatever, right? That guy, obviously, she knows she's in danger. She's going to die. So she's kind of just telling her daughter. Now, again, we don't know if we're going to actually see her die. Like we saw the old guy with the bag. I guess we'll see soon enough.
Mom, I'm scared.
No. We need to find a way out of here now.
But we don't have any of our stuff.
We can come back for it later, Grace.
Yeah. So she got stabbed. Now, where did she get stabbed? Here's the question. I think that's very suspicious. That is very freaking suspicious. Now, as mentioned, I kind of theorized that, you know what I mean, we could be seeing maybe Alex Wesker. That could be the case, but... Oh, and I also want to see who's the voice actor for Alyssa. But anyways, to finish my point, I also brought up a theory that Alyssa isn't dead, right? This is something that we saw in the first trailer with the director kind of stating that, oh, this is 8 years ago your mom died. What if she didn't die? You know what I mean? And we don't have physical proof that she's dead. Now, we did hear a knife stab. That could have been to her back. That could have been, you know what I mean? That could have been through, I don't know, like in the stomach, if he stabbed her like from this direction. Or maybe he sliced her neck like he did the old man. I mean, this is what I'm saying, right? It's open-ended. So that could still be the case, boys. We could still see Alyssa later on. What if she's been kidnapped or whatever? I mean, that wouldn't be surprising. That wouldn't be far-fetched, especially if we look even at what happened to Jill during Lost in Nightmares, where Albert Wesker kind of just took her, bro, and started experimenting on Jill. That could definitely be the case with Alyssa, right? Or who knows? Maybe Alyssa got infected. It could also be the case, right? That, again, is not far-fetched with Resident Evil, where we see a protagonist or just a character, like, for instance, Albert Wesker, who ends up dying, but then returns after bonding with a virus incredibly well, right? I mean, there's that wouldn't be far-fetched is what I'm getting at. And so the fact that they didn't show freaking Alyssa get actually killed, they just left it to our imagination, left it open-ended, is very suspicious, boys. It's a very suspicious. So as mentioned, that theory could still potentially be happening, right? That theory of mine, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, also sounds a bit like Laura Bailey. Is Laura Bailey the one that did Helena, and as well as what the frick was her name? Angela Miller, right? Angela Miller from Resident Evil Degeneration. Angela Miller, Resident Evil Degeneration. Yep, Angela Miller. Yeah, she was voiced by Laura Bailey. Laura Bailey obviously also played Helena Harper, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Yeah. Yeah, and it was voice actor Laura Bailey. Yeah. Now, I guess we'll listen back to it because that's something that I definitely would want to see. Let's see, because we're obviously looking at multiple things. Let's just finish up here, see if that's the end of the video. But very interesting. Very interesting. What's up, man? I like your name, Chino. It levels up. This is, what if it's the corrections organizations from RE7, or the connections, you mean, right? The connections, yes, killing Alyssa. That's a good theory. I mean, there's nothing right now that kind of suggests that it couldn't be the case. The only thing that I can kind of think up as a counter argument to that theory is that they kind of wrapped everything up with the connections with Resident Evil 8. You know what I mean? There was that section where we kind of saw Chris going through. It kind of mentioned how Mother Miranda was speaking, you know what I mean, with the connections. They were working on, it showcased it kind of wrapped up the connections part of Ethan's and Resident Evil 7's, like the mold virus and all of that kind of story up. And since we know that it seems to me like everything we've seen, this is not going to be talking about the mold virus, right? I mean, it seems like the story of the Winters family, which it heavily involves the mold virus, it seems like that's not going to be the case. So again, there's multiple counter arguments there, right? We know that the connections, they haven't really done anything with it, and they kind of already finished it with Resident Evil 8 Village. We know that Resident Evil 9 is going to be its own thing. It has nothing to do with Resident Evil 8 7, since Resident Evil 8 and basically stated that the story was finished with Ethan. And since Ethan's story was so hyper-focused on the mold virus, that was basically the whole story. Without it, the story just falls apart. Them revisiting that with the connections seems a little bit weird. So those are my counter arguments for that kind of a theory. But yeah. Yes, my bad. I have another theory. Yeah, bring it up, man. Just so you guys know, I mean, this is all just hypothetical. We actually don't know if it could definitely be the case, is what I'm saying. I'm just saying that logically, I don't think it would follow, right? So that's the only thing that I'm suggesting, right? But anyways, let's actually look it up. You can make sure to write any more theories in the chats, boys. I love hearing them. I love discussing this, right? Because it's fun, right? I mean, we're kind of just all kind of discussing it. But yeah, Helena and Angela. That's right. So I also want to hear if we hear Alyssa's voice as well. I want to see what we hear.
From the shadows. Back in
Anne,
Hi, Mom.
you have been on that thing all day.
Well, if you're gonna work so late.
Get some sleep, eh?
I'm almost done, just a sec.
It's really coming down hard.
Mom, phone. Mom.
It's right beside you.
I actually don't know who this is, dude. I don't know who any of these actors are.
Yes.
Miss Ashcroft?
Yes.
Who was it?
Dunno.
Another point that I will mention right now that I just thought of is just a couple of scenes before. Right here, we see right now, another kind of interesting part right now is that it's actually raining. This is important because we've actually seen a location in the trailer that's also raining. So this kind of aligns with my theory that this is actually going to be happening in the East Coast, mostly because it seemed like that footage that we saw of Grace kind of walking down, like, you know what I mean? It seemed like a New York area. We saw like a bunch of like a bunch of trains or whatever. There's a bunch of garbage on this side. I don't know if you guys remember that. And also we kind of saw another thing with her kind of going through an alley, right? There was like an alley. There was a bunch of garbage and stuff. That whole time it was raining. So, and we also saw rain in the hospital. So in the hospital section where, you know what I mean, where we saw that, I'm assuming it's New York. And there was something else that I also mentioned in my live stream. I don't know if you guys caught that in my live stream with Mayor Munoz, but I also brought up the fact that I do think that these locations are actually both in New York. And the reason I say this is because, you know what I mean? At first I was saying, well, what if the hotel was in Raccoon City and then the hospital was in New York? But now it seems like these two locations might be in New York. And the reason I kind of brought that up is because, as mentioned, we first saw that there was the kind of the subways on the top and her kind of going through. and kind of like the dirty alleys or whatever. It seemed like that could be on the East Coast somewheres. But the other thing that I also noticed was that there's also another connection with New York. I don't know if you guys remember, but there's that hospital, right? The hospital was very Resident Evil-esque. We kind of saw the two pillars. We saw like the stairway. We saw like a left and right wing. You know, there's two locations, very Resident Evil Mansion inspired. And you know what? It led me to believe that George Trevor definitely made that hospital. So, and the other bit of evidence that kind of supports this theory is that guess where George Trevor is from? George Trevor was born in New York in the United States. So it wouldn't be far-fetched for this to actually happen. Now, as mentioned, I've already stated this theory in my Mayor Munoz live stream. I'm just reiterating what I've already stated, just in case we have any YouTubers here that are gonna try to steal this theory, because I know there's a lot out there. There's some YouTubers that are not nice. They like to have had that happen to me several times, where people try to copy my theories, my video topics, my thumbnails, and it's like, bro. But anyways, that's a different topic. But just so you know, I've already talked about that, so don't do that. Anyways, what I was going to say, though, is that, again, this does seem to me like that is New York, right? Or East Coast, at least, right? I mean, it could be somewhere else. Who knows? I know there was also a theory kind of going around in my chat that was kind of suggesting that maybe that was like in the follow-up, that hospital that we kind of saw in the first trailer was outside of the city limits of Raccoon City in a nearby town. That could very well be. I don't know. That's not my theory, though. This is my theory. I'm thinking that it's East Coast. But it's also interesting, as mentioned, that we're having this window here. This window right here is very interesting because, again, it's showing that it's raining. It seems like there's a lot of locations that it's raining. Now, as mentioned, I don't think it rains too often in the East Coast, but I'm just saying, right, it's very suspicious, right? I think it rains more on the west side, right? Like upper west side, like northwest side of the United States. But as mentioned, I don't know, maybe it's just like a theme here where it's always raining. That's just what's happening, you know what I mean? But what my theory was is that the hospital section that we saw kind of Grace going over, that seems to be the East Coast, especially with her going through that, where it was also kind of raining a little bit. It was kind of just a little bit of drizzle. And then now with this section being rain, I wonder if this is like similar. This is a similar city, right? And then after, if this is the same city, then that would mean that Raccoon City, we're also going to be having some maps there. So is it going to be two locations, as mentioned before, or it's going to be New York, right? Or East Coast, at least, maybe in a different city. It doesn't have to be New York, right? I don't think Resident Evil likes to use a lot of real cities, right? That's hence the reason why we have literally, except for the movies. The movies, we had real cities. Like, I'm pretty sure New York took place in Resident Evil Vendetta, right? We saw Leon kind of go through. We also saw in Death Island, we saw him go through San Fran, right? So that's the only time where I think Resident Evil has really showcased like actual locations, like actual cities. There might be other points. I'm not going to get into that, but but anyways, just from the top of my head. But yeah, so that's interesting, right? It's interesting, but yeah. I think the hospital section is the same location as the apartment where they live at, so then you go to Raccoon City. Oh, that's an interesting perspective, Jacob. You're suggesting that perhaps this location is actually an apartment building? I guess, but it feels like a hotel to me. I don't know. I mean, it could be. It almost looks like, also like the architecture too. Like, let's go back. Hold up. Let's go back just a second. Like, should we kind of see...
Anne?
It almost looks like she's coming home from work, honestly. But this looks like this is just one room, dude. Like, this looks like very hotel... You know what I mean? Like the little nightstand and the one bed. You know what I mean? Like that. This doesn't look like it's her room in an apartment. This almost looks like when you see Alyssa walk in... It almost looks like this is, you know how a hotel room, you go in and there's like the TV, there's the bed, and there's like a bathroom like on this side, right? Like there's a bathroom right here. You know what I mean? It almost looks like that. Unless this is an apartment, like you said, and then there's like, I don't know, multiple rooms. And this is just showing Alyssa going through. I guess we'll look at it right now just to kind of confirm. Okay, so she's opening the door. Obviously, that looks like it's the front door, dude. That looks like it's the front door. That does not look like it's like her apartment. Because look, why would like, it would be weird if you went into your apartment and your daughter's room is in the first, like in the hallway of like the entrance. You know what I mean? And it does look like she just came in, especially with her bag. I mean, I was going to say her shoes, but I know in America you guys wear shoes in the house, right? So that's not a real telltale sign. But but what I'm saying is that it looks like she just came in, right, from work or something. So I'm guessing this is a hotel. Also, like, look at this. This is a similar asset from like the other RE games. Also, all this, but like I said, it looks, the vanity here, that doesn't look like it's Alyssa's room, right? Also, the really tacky wallpaper. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's the same as in the hallway later on, right? Like. Yeah, it looks like a hotel. Yeah, it looks like a hotel to me. I don't think that's this is an apartment.
Man.
Because that, like, it looks like she just came in the house. You know what I mean? Like, or like, if this was an apartment, that'd be weird. She just came into the apartment, right?
Hang on.
You have been on that thing all day.
Well, if you're gonna work so late.
Get some sleep, eh?
I'm almost done. Just a sec.
It's really
And as mentioned before, it seems to me like what I'm kind of getting at here, or what I'm kind of just sensing from this whole interaction with her daughter and her, is it seems like Alyssa kind of brought Grace over with her to go with and deal with an investigation that she was in a location. Maybe she was investigating the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, as mentioned, if this is the same location as the hospital, where I'm assuming is the East Coast, what if they're staying at a hotel, but they're going to the hospital? You know what I mean? Like, that's where she's investigating for reals. But she gets killed in the hospital. And then later on, you know what I mean? That's when we saw 8 years later, we see the guy and he's like, Grace, you're special, right? And he's sitting here like in his chair or whatever. And then there's like a window here. And then over here, we kind of see that it's like broken or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that could be it. So Grace had, and you know, with what she was kind of talking with the director, the FBI director, kind of saying, yeah, like your mom died or whatever, you're gonna have to, it almost seemed like he was sending Grace to go investigate the last time that her mom died. And that's why when she was kind of mentioning that in the first trailer that we got, Grace was kind of thinking of she was basically having a flashback of all of the moments that are occurring in this location that's showcased right now, right? We saw her kind of going in first person with her mom looking at the window, which is going to happen in a few seconds. So
down hard.
Mom, phone. Mom.
It's right beside you.
the interactions are so real. Reminds me of E33. Yeah, I have to beat E33, man. I need to get back into it because we streamed it. But yeah, no, the interactions. Yeah, I thought that's kind of cool. I like that. I like it shows, you know what I mean? Like it's we don't really get a lot of those kinds of small interactions in Resident Evil. So that's why I think it's really cool that we're seeing that kind of mother and daughter kind of duo. Really cool. Really cool.
Hello?
Miss Ashcroft?
Yes.
Yeah, the wallpaper is so tacky. It wouldn't make sense
Miss
that
Ashcroft, and then they hung up on me.
it wouldn't make sense that that's an apartment.
What the?
This right now too, we saw that flashback of when the FBI director was mentioning to Grace, right? We saw that. You know what I mean? This is she got a flashback of her mom looking out when the power got cut off. So again, we're kind of just getting more and more of the story.
Grace,
But I think that's how everything gets connected, right?
need to go.
Go where? Mom, what's going on?
Hurry.
Wait, who's coming? What's wrong?
We need to keep.
Have I been talking for an hour, bro? Have I been talking for an hour? Yo, I need to chill, bro. No, time just went super fast, bro. We're just dissecting this, bro. But like, dang.
Voices down.
This is ridiculous.
Come on.
You are a yapper, bro, huh? Yeah, as usual. I'm gonna have to edit this video a lot, bro. Yeah, I mean that's just more work for me, dude. I mean, I'm also talking to you guys, so I'm taking a lot of breaks. That will be cut out. Sometimes, obviously, it depends on what you guys mention that I think deserves to be in the video, right? But and I think a lot of it though, you guys have been bringing up a lot of interesting points. So yeah. Raiden Stark, what's up, Raiden? He says, who's Grace's father? Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I have no clue, dude. They have not stated anything about that. So yeah, is very curious who's that monster is in the hospital chasing you. It could play a random monster. You cannot be Alyssa or Lisa Trevor. I want to make no sense. Oh, what? I don't understand, Jacob. If you can reiterate that.
What's going on?
Now is not the time.
What happens if Grace's father is the villain? It could be wrong. Probably just no. I don't think so. I don't think that's the villain that we saw kill. I don't think so. That guy looked hella creepy. Yeah. Even her last name has nothing to do with her father. Yo, lady, that's a good point. That is super sus. Yeah, how come Grace Ashcroft or Grace decided to go with Ashcroft and not her father's name? Maybe, I mean, it could be, this could be explained that maybe, you know what I mean? Like Grace never was really close to her father. Maybe Alyssa was busy traveling and stuff. And so one could ascertain that she's like, I'm just going to use my mom's name because she's the one that raised me. It obviously seems like it's a single, you know what I mean? A single parent situation. Maybe her dad died in this investigation that she's been dealing with. And then now she's scared that it's going to happen to her daughter. I don't know. I'm just kind of just making educated guesses here. But those are just ways that they could explain this, right? But yeah. What if the villain is like the standard boss, like Lady D, like he may not be the final boss? Yeah, no, that could very well be the case. I mean, this is something that I actually brought up in my theory video. I think that it would be really cool if they actually ended up bringing Alex Wesker into the mix, right? Her being the actual bad guy, and then this rando guy that's like, Grace, you're really special or whatever. That guy is just, you know what I mean? Just, yeah, like you said, just like a mini boss, like Lady D, right? So that they don't spoil much of the story. Could very well be the case. I want to go back just a second here. I will say right here, these squares, I'm pretty sure we kind of saw similar stuff at the hospital. But again, this is a video game, so they're going to use a lot of that same similar assets or decoration for the walls. Like whatever. I know this is not the hospital because, as mentioned, the ceilings are way too small as opposed to that. So this looks like it's a hotel, right? Okay, whoa, let's go back. Okay, let's actually look at the Matilda. That's the Matilda. That's the gun. Obviously, she's pushing it out. I don't want to continue because it's going to go forward. She's going to push the door. Yeah, she pushes the door. What if the dad is Leon? I was thinking of saying that, but nah, bro. My boy Leon only likes Asian chicks, dudes. We know that freaking Leon, he's a man of culture, okay? He's a man of culture, bro. He's only interested in Ada Wong, freaking Shen Mei, who looks exactly like freaking Ada. We know he freaking likes freaking... The only other chick that isn't Asian that he kind of had an interesting relationship with is Angela, where he did kind of make out with her, and she kind of dressed up like this near the end of the movie, and she was kind of like, hey Leon, let's hang out again, let's go swimming again, and then he's like, yeah, then Claire was like, what do you mean, what's going on here? Obviously we never see Leon actually pursue this this kind of relationship. That's the only chick that isn't Asian that Leon was actually interested in. Everybody else, we had freaking Shen Mei, who literally looks like Ada, okay? She literally looks like Ada. Literally. She looks like Ada. Wait, why is the first picture on Resident Evil Wiki of Shen Mei being dead? Yo, Resident Evil Wiki, chill, dude, chill. Leon says, so us liking Rebecca Chang counts? Exactly, of course. It does. It counts. It's Capcom. Rebecca Chang. Hell's a yeah. Okay, I'll go out with Rebecca Chang any day, all right? Sheesh.
Welcome.
What's up, man? Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for subscribing, Nicholas. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Leon is 7 years younger than Alyssa. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it doesn't matter, but no, I don't think Alyssa would make Leon happy. Also, you know what I mean? If the dad was Leon, Grace would definitely take freaking Kennedy as her last name, right? That's crazy if she didn't. So, yeah. Now, at first I thought it was the broom handle, but I think you're right. I think it might be. I don't know. This is where I think any gun guys, please let me know. There's kind of a hook here. I don't know if you guys hear. There's kind of a. Wait, I didn't want to do that. Oh, what the frick? Yeah, there's kind of a hook right here, and then back, and it almost seems like that. Like it almost seems like there's a hook, there's a slant here, and then it's almost curved in that direction. So let's go back here. It's definitely no, you know why? Because I don't think it's Ada's gun. Just because this thing right here, I don't know what it's called. Any gun guys? That looks like it doesn't look like it's the same. Now it does have that slant and then kind of that curve here. It does kind of have but not the curve. It doesn't look fully well as opposed to the Matilda. The Matilda also has that curve here and has that kind of a dip. So it might be the Matilda. Yeah. Well, has that curve. Has that curve a little. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know too much about guns. So guys, if you know what it is, let me know. But yeah. Yo, spoilers. Also, thank you so much for stopping by, Riddick. Yeah, Kevin the dad. I don't know. Kevin likes Cindy though. My boy Kevin likes Cindy. And you know what? I would have gone with Cindy anyways. You know what I mean? If I was in Kevin's position. Because Kevin was going to the cafe, right? My viewers were telling me that when we were doing Outbreak just last week. Kevin was going to the bar, I mean, to specifically talk to Cindy and riz her up. You know what I mean? So yeah, the ridges aren't as big at least. Yeah, I don't know, right? It's kind of weird. Revelations 2 gun is also interesting to look at. All right, let's see. What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about Claire. Yeah, Claire's. Why am I spelling this badly? Claire's gun. Resident Evil Revelations 2. The MPM. Resident Evil. The MPM. I don't know. No, I don't think it hooks too much. I don't think it hooks. I need gun guys on this. I need gun guys on this specifically to let me know about this. But yeah, there is another character of Resident Evil that looks like Asian girls. What's the Resident Evil Dead Aim? Bro, I haven't played Dead Aim. I gotta play that. I gotta do that. So yeah, that's one of the games I have not played. Also, Gun Survivor 1. I played Gun Survivor 2 as a kid. I owned it. It was trash, but I gotta play that. It looks like a Bursa. Mikey, you're saying it's a Bursa? Let's see what a Bursa is. A Bursa gun. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Because it does that hook thing here. Right? It has that hook thing, but it almost looks like there's like more of a curve on that end. You know, there's more. I guess this one does have it, the Thunder 386. But yeah, I don't know. It does match the ridges here for like the I don't know anything about guns, boys. But yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's this though. I don't think it's the Broom HC. I don't know. It's the same gun that Grace has, the SIG P232. All right, let's actually search it up, Nicholas. Let's search it up. The SIG P232. 6 Sauer. Yeah. Oh, I think you're right. Yes, I think you're right. This is the same gun that she has. Yeah. That would kind of make sense that, you know, Grace kind of uses the same weapon that her mom uses. I think Nicholas got it. I think it is. Nicholas. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I think you're right, Nicholas. Oh yeah, it almost showed a moment where they showed Grace reloading a gun in the last dev talk. It also looks okay. Yeah, Lady also said it. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, guys, you guys are 100% locked in, yo. You guys are freaking locked in. Thank you, Lady. Thank you, Nicholas. I think you guys are right. I think the new gun is this one. Yeah, it fits. It fits. It has that curve in the back. It has the little ridges. It has the freaking thing. Yeah, that is 100%. What if it's a Zach gun like her mom's gun? Yeah, that would track. That would track. Nice. That would be fire, right? Right? I mean, you guys are locked in. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you for subscribing and letting me know, man. You were quick with that. Thank you. But yeah, no, I think you're right, dude. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, it has the little thing, it has the little curve. All right, let's continue, boys. Seems we know what the gun is. Yo, did you guys see that? I didn't notice that before, but her freaking gun just went through the door. Did you guys? I don't know if my chat is covering it. Hold up. Her hand went through the freaking thing. What the frick? I know this is a demo, bro. Like, they're not done yet. Like, it's all right. Capcom, like, we were talking about that at the beginning. So one of my viewers said that, you know, that the graphics didn't look all that, but that's funny, dude. She just freaking phased like the Flash. She went through the door. That's crazy. What the frick? That's crazy. Her gun goes through her coat too. LOL. Look at her. Yeah, Lucy. Oh, does it come out? Yeah, it went through her. It went through her thing. Wait, right there. You're right.
Mom, wait.
Right there, it went through. That's funny, dude.
Keep moving.
Oh, I did it again.
Oh, who's that? Oh, I'm so sorry about the power outage.
What happened?
It's really no excuse, and I apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah, don't worry.
I should have it fixed soon. I just need to find my...
Come on in here, Grace. Grace, look at me. Grab my hands.
It already looks so good, man. But imagine when it's polished. Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely gonna be polished. It always is. The hooded guy is George. No, I don't think so.
Oh, Grace.
That makes no sense. We actually went over that. We went over that, Chino. Yeah, we went over that. Also, me saying Chino, that's... Hey, yo! I like it, though. I like your name.
Please know that you are my hope. Never forget that.
What are you talking about?
Just... I love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
Mom, I'm scared.
No. We need to find a way out of
It's
here.
okay, Grace.
We don't have any of our stuff.
We can come back for it later, Grace.
Did you guys catch that? Did you catch that little interaction? Look at that. Let's go back. Look at the attention to detail.
Out of here now.
We don't have any of our stuff.
Look, Grace is freaking out, and her mom wants to grab her, which is what was happening at the beginning, right? She grabbed her mom when she came in through the door, and then, you know, she got upset with her after. She's like, go to bed, Grace. It's too late, okay? Right now, this was the last interaction that she's had with her mom, and her mom's trying to grab her, and she's just freaking the frick out, bro. Which is fine. I mean, it's understandable. There's a freaking psycho on the loose in the hotel.
We can come back for it later, Grace.
She lets her go, and then... Wait, can we go back to the frame? I think I saw something. Hold up. I'm gonna freaking pause and play. It almost looked like she got like levitated, bro. Like she looked like somebody like grabbed her, bro. Yeah, look. Yeah. So he brought the knife here, which would imply that if he's bringing the knife here, he wouldn't just attack her from the back like that, right? It would seem he freaking, you know, same thing with what he did with the guy with the bag, right? He sliced the neck. So I'm assuming that the same thing happened here. He probably did slice Alyssa's neck. Now, the other thing I was also going to mention, this is the last thing that I want to mention about this, is that if we go back to the guy, this is actually one of the first times we actually had a very good look at him. We also know that his MO here, his modus operandi, is to freaking grab people, pull the knife on the left, right? Oh no, this time he went to the right. Okay, whatever. He went to the right, his dominant hand. But and then he cuts their neck, right? But what I was going to say here is this is very interesting. This is kind of our close look at this mysterious man. Now, somebody was saying that it's George. I definitely don't think so. It could be a nod to that. But that's not George, bro. I doubt it. That wouldn't make any sense. It'd be a lot of explaining to do, right? But anyways, what I was going to say was, I don't know if you guys notice, but look at all that last stuff around him, dude. Like, this guy looks disgusting. He almost looks like a zombie. He almost looks like an infectee, bro. How Leon would say. I mean, I can't. You guys can't see what I'm writing here. An infectee. That's what he looks like, bro. He looks like he has, like, obviously we know that he's super sneaky. You know what I mean? A little too sneaky. So I wonder if this new infection that we're actually encountering in Resident Evil 9 makes it so that these monsters are super sneaky. They're super freaking fast. They're super strong. I don't know, but, you know, I mean, obviously a lot of Resident Evil story when it comes to viruses is that people often, you know what I mean, they don't bond to the virus well, right? There's only certain people that actually bind themselves to the virus really well. So, I mean, like, for instance, we have Albert, right? Albert is just a concoction of viruses. And even in Resident Evil 5, we saw that he had too many viruses that he actually had to, like, take a dosage of, like, whatever it was, the PW, what, I don't remember the name of it, but you know what I mean? Like, he had to take that to control the viruses that were in him. So, and then, you know, even with Resident Evil 4, right, we saw with Las Plagas, right? The Las Plagas, the way it affected the villagers was differently as to the way that it actually affected Sadler or even Salazar, right? So what I'm getting at here is that obviously the infection seems to be very zombie oriented, right? We saw that cop with the zombified in the first trailer. I'm assuming just by looking at this that this guy is paired up really well with the virus. That's all that to say that this guy is definitely paired up with the virus really well. And I wonder if that's why he's so fast, why he's so freaking sneaky. I mean, it could be that this guy's just freaking trained. I don't know, but it's interesting, right? It's interesting. The only reason that it leads me to go that route is because of the way this guy freaking looks, man. He looks disgusting, bro. He looks like he's a zombie, bro. Like, he looks as sickly as like the Bakers, bro. Obviously, I don't think that this is going to be the mold virus, as discussed before. That's already been wrapped up. I don't think we're actually going to be going over. We know that the Winters family story is done. That was a major part of it. That would be kind of lame if it was. And as mentioned too, we saw the zombie cop, right, in the first trailer. And that, you know, the mold virus didn't do that. Now, it could be that maybe the mold virus is used in some way, but I don't think so. Like, this, he just looks like a typical zombie here. So, yeah, he could be infected. Maybe that's why they captured Grace. Her blood is the cure. Yeah, or maybe it's the next step, right? The next step, Assassin's Creed hood. Yeah, I saw some people think he's a Nikolai. That would be weird if he was Nikolai, because Nikolai looks completely different now. You know what I mean? Like, we saw him in RE3 Remake. They would have reused the same thing that he looked. I think there's some issues with that. Not to mention, the actor for Nikolai is already a pretty famous actor. It's actually Neil Newbon, who of course was in Baldur's Gate 3, right? Neil, which I did meet actually, but why would they just reuse a different? You know what I mean? If it was Nikolai, who he did, by the way, he played Heisenberg in Resident Evil 8 and also in Resident Evil 3 Remake as Nikolai, and then Heisenberg, just like Lady was just saying, it wouldn't make sense that they would just hire a different actor or make him sound completely different from how he sounded before. This guy, as mentioned in the first dissection video that I had, he's got a very weird accent, almost like Eastern European or something, or like, I don't know, like a Scandinavian accent. I don't know what it is. So, like I said, I have no clue where his accent comes from. It sounds really strange. So I don't know. Looks like blood coming out of his eyes, kind of like Resident Evil 5, the first infected we see. Yes, that's a very good point, Riddick. Very good point. Yes, with like, it shows like the guy and he's like, ah, and then it shows like the blood coming out of his eyes. It's a very good point. Yeah, look, there is some blood right there. Obviously, we have this disgusting thing. His teeth look rotten. Like, he almost looks like as bad as, what the frick is her name, dude? The wife of Jack. Something with an M, isn't it? Or am I tripping? What the frick is her name? Nico also took an experimental thermo charge to the head. Yeah, good point as well. Yeah, I don't think we would ever see Nikolai. That'd just be. I did. There was a viewer that brought that up before, and I mentioned the same thing. Margaret. Thank you, Margaret. Yes, it's Margaret. Yes, Margaret. He looks as disgusting as Margaret from RE7. Like, that whole boss fight with Margaret was just vile, bro. Like, it's just like, even like the infected, like, I'm not even gonna mention, but you guys know what? You guys played that. It's gross, right? But he looks as disgusting as Margaret. Now, as mentioned, I don't think this is just the mold virus. It could be a combination of the mold virus, but yeah, very interesting. Very interesting, boys. It looked like Alyssa got stabbed in her shoulder and picked up. I mean, it could very well be, right? I mean, as mentioned before, and thank you so much for stopping by, TRV. But yeah, we just mentioned before that it could be that she's not dead, right? We don't know. At this point, we don't know. Using a knife means it's personal. Yeah. Wait, is that a quote from the Joker? It's personal. Or whatever. I don't remember the quote, but I think he said something along those lines, right? It's too quick. You don't get the personal side or whatever. Yeah. Could be someone that knew Alyssa. Are you saying about this? Yeah. I mean, obviously he knows something, right? I think this guy, who said that before? Somebody said that this guy is probably not the main villain, but he's probably just a side character. I definitely think that, I agree. I think that would make a lot of sense. Just because this guy just seems like, the way he's operating is very similar to like the Verdugos. Right, the Verdugos, the executioners in Resident Evil 4. By the way, that's what that means, Verdugo in Spanish. If you guys didn't know, we also have an executioner, right? Executioner in Resident Evil 5. It's funny that they reused the same name, but yeah, Verdugos, right? Verdugos almost acted like bodyguards, right? Like they were quick to just go and do stuff. Who else? Also, like he kind of reminds me of like freaking Maria Gomez, right? Maria Gomez was an infectee as well. She looked like she was kind of dead as well, right? Yeah, she looked like she was kind of dead as well. Let's actually search up freaking Maria Gomez. Is it with an S or a Z? No, it's a Z. Okay, so she's Spanish. Yeah. With an S, I think it's Portuguese. Maria Gomez, Glen Arias. Yeah. Maria looks like dead, bro. She also has like red eyes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she had like red eyes, dude. And she also liked to go for the neck as well. That was the guy that grabs Rebecca's coffee, bro. Oh, rest in peace. I don't even remember his name. I don't even remember his name, dude. That was funny, bro. That was funny. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, let's go. Let's continue. Yeah, she looked infected. She loved to grab people too. So yeah, that could very well be the case. You know what I mean? That could very well be the case. I think he's very similar to somebody that's like Maria. Not like a main villain kind of type is what I'm saying, right? He seems like more of like the second in command, or like, you know, because that's what Maria was in Resident Evil Vendetta. She was the sidekick of Glenn, and then also in Resident Evil Death Island with Dylan. Dylan, right? Dylan. Yeah. What if the guy is Lucas Baker? Did Lucas die? Yeah, right? Like that was the DLC, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Yeah, he did, right? Or did he? No. Wait. Yeah, he died. He died, didn't he? Yeah, wasn't that the no? Chris killed. Yeah. Okay, no. So yeah, that would have only worked if it wasn't like we know that he's dead. So. No, I don't think it's Lucas Baker. And as mentioned, I don't think they're going to go back and tell us the same freaking story for the mold virus. As mentioned, they're done. They're not going back to just Ethan's mold virus. I mean, they could have it be part of the infection. I don't think so. Yeah, after he transformed. Yeah, the killer didn't have an accent when he spoke on the phone. He sounded American. That's a very good point. Yes. I mean, it could be that he's there with a squad of guys, though, too, right? But that's a very good point. Yeah, but I mean, we only heard him say Alyssa Ashcroft. And to be fair, too, the accents in Resident Evil are kind of trash, bro. I mean, like, we all know Resident Evil 4 Remake, we all know that the accents were not really from Spain, right? And then the remake, they kind of fixed a lot of that. But even like with Sadler, for instance, a counter argument is that why does Sadler sound so American? You know what I mean? If his family have been in generations upon generations of the Sadler family have been in Spain, you know what I mean? Also, Sadler isn't a Spanish name, so that's also weird. Not to mention Resident Evil 8, we had freaking Heisenberg, we had Lady D, we had freaking the what's her name? The one with the D, the chick with the I forgot her name, the one with the puppet. Shoot, what the frick is her name? Now it's pissing me off. No, what's her name? Anyways, doesn't matter, bro. Anyways, those people, they were all in Romania. And there's also that one scene with like Heisenberg where he's like, "Oh, you're an American," even though the whole Resident Evil 8, Heisenberg was trying to speak with an American accent, right? And he's like, "Ethan Winters," right? He's always like Mother Miranda. He was doing like a weird, like I'm not gonna lie, I think Neil Bluebond's a great actor, but I think his accent for Resident Evil 8 Village made absolutely no sense. Now, as mentioned, it's not just him. It seems like it's just the direction of what the casting directors or whoever was in charge of, not the casting directors, but I mean like the actual directors, whoever was in charge of that, of the scenes, they didn't really care too much about accents. I mean, even like in the pronunciation of Lady Dimitrescu, right? They never used, like the only Romanian that we heard in Resident Evil 8 Village was the ciorba de legume, right? I think. Wasn't that like the vegetable soup at the beginning of the game? And that was for Mia. Mia said that. So that's what I mean. So that's a counter argument for accents not being 100%. Donna Bienaviento, thank you. I knew it was with the D, but I was like, what the frick is it? Thank you, lady. Yeah, thank you. Only Heisenberg had an accent. Yeah, well, he had an accent, but it almost sounded like he was trying to do an American accent. Was it not? He did not have a Romanian accent. That's what I'm getting at, right? He did not have I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay. Yeah. Heisenberg was one of my favorite lords. Yeah, I mean, Heisenberg was freaking badass. I'm not saying that Heisenberg isn't badass. But no, what I'm getting at is that his accent made absolutely, like, not just him, all of the lords' accents made no sense. Like even Moreau, like with a name like Moreau, you would think that he would have a French accent, right? Moreau, right? But he didn't even have that, bro. He didn't even have that. He didn't even sound like that, right? Like, he's like, what? Click this video right here if you guys want to see the Gamescom demo dissection video that I did, and click this one right here if you guys want to see the previous RA9 dissection video in case you guys missed it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching.